There's just something so satisfying about those moments in horror.
Right.
When the villain, the monster, finally gets a taste of their own medicine. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like this primal thing. Like, yeah, you get what you deserve. And we're diving deep into that feeling today, exploring that delicious dark side of revenge.
Exactly. And we've got an awesome roadmap for this deep dive. It's a ranking specifically made for us, actually, by Mary Girl Moody, called When Karma Has a Body Count, AHS's Best Revenge Kills Ranked. We're talking American Horror Story, people.
The best of the best when it comes to payback time. And we're not holding back. We're talking full spoilers, dissecting each kill, the shills, the thrills, the whole shebang. You've been warned.
From number 10 all the way to the top spot. So are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's get started.
Okay, kicking things off at number 10, Mary Girl Moody has Emotional Ghosting, Violet and Vivian versus Tate. This one comes from Murder House, right? And it's not your typical, like, blood and guts revenge.
No, not at all. It's more like a psychological takedown, and in a way, it's even more disturbing.
I mean, think about it. Violet and Vivian, they've been through hell in that house, and a lot of it is because of Tate. He's manipulative, he's dangerous, he's behind so much death.
He really thinks he has the upper hand, but that scene where they confront him, that's where the tables turn.
Remember how Violet just says, "Go away, Tate"?
Yeah.
It's so simple. But the way she says it, it's like this complete and utter rejection. And then Vivian, she doesn't even need to say anything. Her silence speaks volumes.
It's like they're stripping him of his power. He's a ghost, surrounded by ghosts, but suddenly he's completely alone, isolated.
Mary Girl Moody calls it deadly revenge. And it really is, in a way. He's stuck there in that house, haunted by his actions, and the two people he wanted most, they want nothing to do with him. That's got to hurt, even for a ghost. It's a different kind of scare. It gets under your skin.
Totally. It plays on those deep-seated fears of isolation and rejection, even in the afterlife. And it's perfect for Murder House, right? Because that whole season is about being haunted by the past. For Tate, it's like this poetic justice. His past is literally trapping him.
Okay, moving on to number 9. Things take a pretty dark turn. We're talking about Marie Laveau's curse on Delphine LaLaurie from Coven.
Yes.
And man, Delphine LaLaurie, she's just pure evil.
Oh, for sure. Her historical crimes are beyond horrific. The torture, the racism. American Horror Story doesn't shy away from showing just how monstrous she was.
And Marie Laveau, she's not messing around when it comes to revenge.
Definitely not. A quick death. No, that's too easy for LaLaurie. Instead, she traps her in a wax museum for eternity.
Talk about a fate worse than death. Surrounded by these grotesque figures, these reminders of her own cruelties, like this never-ending confrontation with her own evil.
Mary Girl Moody talks about how the historical context really adds to the impact here, and I totally agree. Knowing that LaLaurie was a real person who committed these atrocities makes it even more chilling. It's a reminder that sometimes justice is a dish best served forever.
So at number 8, we've got a revenge kill that's a little more, well, let's just say satisfying. Dandy Mott gets drowned from Freak Show.
Yeah.
Now, Dandy, he's one of those characters you love to hate.
Spoiled, entitled, and eventually just plain psychopathic. He terrorizes the entire Freak Show, and you're just waiting for him to get what's coming to him.
What's interesting about this one is that it's a group effort. The remaining members of the Freak Show, they've had enough. They band together, trap him in Houdini's water tank, and watch him drown.
And the way he goes out screaming, "I'm a star!" as he's suffocating, it's so messed up, but also so fitting. This guy was obsessed with attention, with being the center of the universe, and in his final moments, he gets exactly that, albeit in the most horrible way imaginable.
It's like this darkly comic moment, but it also feels really cathartic. This group of people who've been marginalized and abused, they finally take back their power. It's a pretty powerful message. Mary Girl Moody calls it profoundly satisfying, and it's tough to argue.
For sure. It's like sometimes you need a whole community to fight back against a common enemy. The sense of unity and shared purpose makes their act of revenge even more impactful.
All right, let's talk about number 7. Myrtle Snow poisons the council from Coven. Myrtle, she's an icon, a fashion queen, and a witch who knows how to hold a grudge.
Especially after being burned at the stake for a crime she didn't commit. Talk about motivation for revenge.
Her return is pure drama. And her revenge, it's so perfectly Myrtle. She sets up this fancy murder dinner, this elegant setting for eliminating the council members who betrayed her.
Talk about adding insult to injury. Not only are you going to die, but you're going to die in style.
And the method, poison, it's almost refined in a dark way.
Yeah.
But the best part, her last word, Balenciaga. It's like, even in death, Myrtle Snow is serving looks.
It's so perfectly her. Marigold Moody says it's a quintessential witch moment, and I completely agree. Stylish, dramatic, unforgettable.
It's also a powerful statement about reclaiming your power. Myrtle was silenced and punished unjustly. Her revenge is about taking back control, her narrative, her place in the world. It's pretty epic.
Totally. And it reminds us that revenge can be a way of reclaiming your identity after being wronged.
Okay, shifting to a slightly more modern season. At number 6, we have Allie Shoots Kai from Cult. This season was intense, man. It really dug into those fears of manipulation and the allure of a charismatic leader like Kai.
Allie went through so much in that season, psychological torture, fear, paranoia, but she goes through this amazing transformation.
She starts off so vulnerable, but by the end, she's like this force to be reckoned with. And that final confrontation during her Senate campaign, when Kai tries to control her one last time, it's like, boom.
She shuts him down, literally.
Yeah.
One bullet, no hesitation.
Mary Moody puts it perfectly. Boom, one bullet, no mercy. Allie went from being terrified of Kai to being the one who destroys him.
It's such a satisfying moment for the audience after seeing everything she endured. It's the ultimate glow-up, a total reclaiming of her power.
You said it. And it speaks to the themes of the season, right? Cult was all about power, how it corrupts, how it can be abused. Allie taking back that power is like this statement that she's not a victim anymore. She's a survivor.
And she's not afraid to fight back. It's a powerful message for anyone who's ever felt helpless in the face of manipulation or abuse.
Okay, we're cracking into the top 5 now. At number 5, it's Axeman kills the witch hunters in Coven. Now, the Delphi Trust, they were bad news.
Big time. They were determined to wipe out the witches of New Orleans. Not exactly a smart move, considering who they were dealing with.
So Fiona and Marie Laveau, even though they were rivals for a good chunk of the season, they team up, and their solution, unleash the Axeman.
Talk about a brutal way to settle a score. And the setting makes it even more disturbing. They send the Axeman after the Delphi Trust in their own office in the middle of the workday.
Yeah, Marigold Moody jokes about HR not being prepared for that kind of workplace violence. And it's kind of funny in a dark way. You can just imagine the chaos.
What I find fascinating is how Fiona and Marie Laveau are willing to work together to achieve a common goal. They recognize the threat the Delphi Trust poses to them both, and they choose to fight back with this incredibly raw, primal force.
It shows how far they're willing to go to protect themselves and their own. Sometimes you got to fight fire with, well, an axe-wielding serial killer from the past.
For sure. And it raises questions about the nature of alliances and the lengths we'll go to for survival.
Okay, number 4, we have a moment of pure, unadulterated justice. It's Elsa kills Del from Freak Show. Now, Del was a complicated character. He had his moments of kindness, but he was also capable of great cruelty.
And killing Mott, that was unforgivable. She was the heart of the Freak Show, loved by everyone.
And Elsa, she sees red. The moment she learns what Del did, she doesn't hesitate. She pulls out a gun and shoots him. Dead.
Just like that. No trial, no mercy, as Marigold Moody says. Elsa becomes this embodiment of righteous fury. She's protecting her own, and she's not letting anything stand in her way.
It's a powerful moment, and it speaks to the strong sense of family within the Freak Show. They're a community that looks out for each other, and they're not afraid to defend their own, even if it means taking a life.
Totally. And it shows how deeply personal revenge can be, especially when it's fueled by love and grief.
All right, we're getting to the top 3. At number 3, it's Zoe kills Spalding from Coven. Now, Spalding, he was a creepy dude, loyal to Fiona, but definitely hiding some serious secrets.
Yeah, including the truth about Madison's disappearance. And the way Zoe gets that information out of him, that's pretty twisted.
She uses magic to reattach his severed tongue. It's not about kindness, it's about forcing him to confess his sins.
And then when he does, she wastes no time. She just stabs him right in the chest. No dramatic monologue, no drawn-out fight, just pure cold efficiency.
Icon behavior, as Marigold Moody says. Zoe's gone from this somewhat naive newcomer to a witch who's not afraid to take decisive action.
She's learned that sometimes to get justice, you have to get your hands dirty.
All right, we're down to the final 2. At number 2, it's Lana kills Thredson from Asylum. And man, that season was dark. Thredson, a.k.a. Bloody Face, he's one of those terrifying villains in AHS history.
Absolutely. What he put Lana through was just horrifying. But she's a survivor, and she comes back with a vengeance.
She not only escapes from him, but she tracks him down later and ends him herself. One shot to the head.
After everything he did to her, the torture, the psychological manipulation, it's incredibly satisfying to see her take back control. Mary Girl Moody talks about revenge being served with a gun and a book deal, and it's so true. Lana not only gets her revenge, but she exposes Thredson to the world, ensuring that he'll be remembered for the monster he was.
It's a powerful moment of closure for Lana and for the audience after witnessing her ordeal. It shows that even in the face of unimaginable trauma, there's still hope for healing and reclaiming your power.
It also underscores the power of speaking out, of sharing your story, and refusing to be silenced by your abusers.
And finally, the #1 spot, Mary Girl Moody's top revenge kill, is Nan kills Joan Ramsey from Coven. This one is particularly disturbing, not just because of what happens, but because of the way it happens.
Joan, she was a deeply disturbed woman. She killed her own son, convinced that she was purifying her home of evil.
And Nan, she sees this, and she's not having it. She uses her powers to force Joan to drink bleach, the very substance Joan used to try and cleanse her house.
It's like this twisted, poetic justice. Nan turns Joan's own delusions against her, and when Zoe tries to stop her, Nan slams the door shut like, nope, this is happening.
There's such a quiet rage to that scene. Mary Girl Moody talks about the silence, and it's true. You can practically feel the fury radiating off of Nan, and that final line, "cleanse this bitch," it sends chills down your spine.
It's a chilling reminder that sometimes even the most righteous anger can lead to dark places. It makes you question the very nature of justice and how far we're willing to go to achieve it. It stays with you long after the episode ends.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mary Girl Moody's top 10 revenge kills in American Horror Story. So many gruesome moments, so much delicious, dark satisfaction.
It really makes you think about what makes a revenge kill truly memorable, right? What resonates with us, what makes us cheer, what makes us cringe.
We want to know what you think. Head over to @YourSocials and tell us which AHS revenge moment had you on the edge of your seat. Which one stuck with you the most?
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of American Horror Story, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps other horror fans find the show, and it lets us know you're enjoying the content.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the eerie and the macabre. Until then, may your nightmares be suitably terrifying and your justice served ice cold.
Bye, witches.
You know how sometimes in stories, death feels, well, pretty permanent?
Usually, yeah, the end of the line.
Exactly. But today, we're diving into a world where death is often more like a revolving door. We're talking American Horror Story.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you look at resurrection as a theme.
Right. And we've got a great guide for this. Mary Girl Moody's top 10 characters who came back from the dead.
It's a solid list. Really captures how often the show plays with life and death.
Totally. So our mission today is to walk through this list, look at how these characters came back, what that meant for the story, you know.
And also how we reacted, how the audience felt seeing these characters cheat death, sometimes multiple times.
Yeah, the shock value, the emotional impact.
Yeah.
It's all part of the AHS experience.
Definitely. So where are we starting? Number 10?
Number 10 on Mary Girl Moody's list. The one, the only, Laveau. Coven, Apocalypse. Iconic.
Mm-hmm. A powerhouse. But her story in Coven, well, that immortality deal didn't quite work out as planned.
Not at all. Papa Legba claimed her soul, right? Condemned her to eternal torture in her own personal hell. Seemed pretty final.
It really did. They set up these, like, ironclad supernatural rules. Your soul is forfeit. End of story.
But then, Apocalypse happens. And suddenly, Papa Legba's apparently willing to negotiate.
He lets Marie out of hell. Just like that. Well, not just like that. He needs her help against Michael Langdon.
It's such an AHS move, isn't it? Pulling a character back from the brink, from literal damnation to serve the plot.
And it connects those different magical systems too. Voodoo from Coven, the witches fight in Apocalypse. It shows no soul is truly beyond bargaining, I guess.
And the fan reaction, according to Mary Girl Moody, pure excitement at first. She's back.
Oh yeah, massive cheers. People love Angela Bassett as Marie Laveau.
But then, devastation.
Yeah.
Because Michael Langdon just rips her apart. Her second death is brutal.
It really was. That whiplash for the audience. It shows how invested people get. Her return promised so much, and then it was snatched away again.
Okay, moving to number 9 on the list. Moira O'Hara. Murder House. And she pops up again in Apocalypse.
Moira. Her story in Murder House is just tragic.
Utterly. Shot in the eye by Constance Langdon. Her body hidden on the property. Trapped as a ghost. Forever.
And that duality, appearing young and seductive to men, older and weary to women, Such a clever way to show the house's curse and perception.
Just stuck in this loop of servitude in the house's darkness. So how did she finally get out? What was her escape?
It was actually quite touching, especially amidst the chaos of Apocalypse. Madison and Behold find her bones.
Right, they dig them up.
And they take them off the property, bury them with her mother, and that simple act frees her spirit.
It's a rare moment of genuine peace in the show, isn't it?
Absolutely. Mirror Girl Moody mentions the emotional relief viewers felt. After seeing her suffer for so long, trapped by the house's rules, that release was powerful.
Yeah, it felt like real closure. A reminder that even in AHS, sometimes kindness can break a curse.
It really humanizes the horror, focusing on that desire for peace, for reunion.
All right, number 8. We're back to Coven with Kyle Spencer. His resurrection was memorable.
Memorable is one word for it. Gruesome might be another.
Definitely gruesome.
Yeah.
Killed in that frat boy bus crash. Totally mangled.
And then Zoe and Madison decide to bring him back, but not, whole.
No, it's full-on Frankenstein mode,
Yeah.
stitching together parts from different bodies onto his head.
It's visually pretty horrific. And it immediately raises questions, like Mary Girl Moody points out, about what life even means at that point. Is he Kyle? Is he a monster?
Yeah, that boundary between life and monstrosity. It felt like they were going to explore that deeply, the trauma, the confusion.
Did they? Mary Girl Moody notes, and I think a lot of viewers felt this way, that his character arc kind of fizzled out.
I agree. It felt like a really potent, disturbing setup that didn't quite deliver on its potential. The story seemed unsure what to do with him after the initial shock.
Right. Frustration seems to be the key audience reaction there. Missed potential.
Okay, number 7. A really big one for Murder House. Tate Langdon.
Tate. Still probably one of the most debated characters in the entire series.
For sure. So his death, shot by a SWAT team after committing that horrific school shooting.
A truly dark origin. But death in the murder house, well, it's not an exit.
Not at all. He stays on as a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
But a ghost who can interact physically, have relationships, even father the Antichrist, technically.
His presence is just woven into the fabric of Murder House. He's central to the horror, the tragedy, the romance, everything.
So why was his ghost so pivotal? What made him different?
I think it's because he embodied the house's lingering trauma and its ability to corrupt. He wasn't just a spooky apparition. He was an active, dangerous, yet somehow sympathetic force.
Yeah, Mary Girl Moody hits on that mix of love and revulsion from the audience. It's fascinating. People were horrified by his actions, obviously.
Absolutely. Unforgivable actions.
But Evan Peters' performance, the writing,
Yeah.
it created this complex figure you couldn't entirely dismiss. People felt for his pain, even while condemning him.
It really speaks to the show's strength in creating morally gray, deeply uncomfortable characters. He forces you to question redemption and sympathy.
Okay, number 6 brings us Queenie. We met her in Coven, then saw her check into the Hotel Cortez, fatally.
Yeah, her death in Hotel felt really sudden and, frankly, a bit anticlimactic for such a cool character.
Totally. Killed by James March and Ramona Royale, trapped as a ghost in the Cortez, just like that. A powerful witch taken out.
It seemed like such a waste. Fans loved Queenie, her human voodoo doll power, her attitude.
So how does she get sprung from Hotel Purgatory?
Enter Michael Langdon in Apocalypse, part of his tour of proving how powerful he is involved, going into the Cortez and just pulling her soul out.
Just like that. Beat the hotel's rules.
Apparently so. It showed off Michael's strength, bent the established rules of the Cortez, and conveniently brought Queenie back into the main storyline.
On the audience reaction, Mary Girl Moody mentions cheering.
Oh, yeah. Huge cheers. It felt like justice for Queenie getting a second chance after that kind of lame death in Hotel. Plus, more Queenie is always good.
Absolutely. Getting her back for the fight against Michael felt right.
It definitely bolstered the witch's ranks with a fan favorite.
All right, halfway through the list. Number 5 is Misty Day, Coven and Apocalypse, the Swamp Witch.
Oh, Misty. Her death in Coven was one of the saddest moments for me.
Me too. Failing the Seven Wonders trial, the Descensum, getting stuck in her own personal hell.
That endless loop of dissecting a frog in biology class, it was torture designed specifically for her, someone who loves life and nature. So cruel.
Just heartbreaking. She was so pure in a way. So how did you come back from that?
Again, it was Michael Langdon during his tryouts for Supreme in Apocalypse. He went into her hell and pulled her out.
So Michael inadvertently rescued 2 powerful witches who'd later oppose him. Nice going, Antichrist.
Pretty much. It's ironic, isn't it? He saw it as demonstrating power, but he was rearming his enemies.
And the reaction to Misty's return. Mary Girl Moody says, tears and joy.
100%. People adore Misty. She's this gentle, Stevie Nicks-loving soul. Seeing her escape that awful fate was a massive emotional high point in Apocalypse. A truly beloved comeback.
It really felt like a win for the good guys, even if it was Michael who did it. Gave you hope.
Definitely provided a much-needed moment of light in a very dark season.
Okay, number 4. Brace yourselves. Madison Montgomery, the comeback queen herself.
Seriously, if anyone on this list has mastered the art of the return, it's Madison, Coven, and Apocalypse.
How many times did she actually die? In Coven alone. Fiona slit her throat, right?
Yep, over the supremacy. Then later, Kyle strangled her after Myrtle influenced him.
And didn't Michael kill her in Apocalypse too?
He did. Snapped her neck, I think. She just can't catch a break. Or maybe she can, 'cause she keeps coming back.
So how did she reverse all these deaths?
Well, after Fiona killed her, Misty Day used her resurrection power, Resurgence, to bring her back.
Okay, that's one.
Then in Apocalypse, after Kyle strangled her and she ended up in her personal retail hell, Michael Langdon pulled her out too. Same deal as Queenie and Misty.
Wow. So multiple resurrections via different magical means. What did that do to the story, having her constantly pop back up?
It made things incredibly unpredictable, didn't it? Her alliances shifted, her character kind of grew-ish. She went from pure antagonist to, well, still mostly awful, but occasionally useful.
Huh. Yeah, reluctant evolution might be generous, but fans love her for it.
Oh, massively. Mary Girl Moody notes the wild adoration. People love her attitude, her one-liners, surprise, bitch, became iconic for a reason.
Every time she came back, it was like, okay, what chaos is she going to cause now? People were just thrilled to have her back on screen.
Her personality just cuts through everything. She's undeniably entertaining, even when she's terrible.
Okay, top 3. At number 3, we have the Supreme herself, Cordelia Goode, specifically thinking about Apocalypse.
Right. Her death in Apocalypse wasn't like the others we've discussed. It was a choice, a sacrifice.
A huge one. She realized Mallory was the only one who could perform the Tempus Infinitum spell to go back in time and stop Michael.
And to unlock Mallory's full power, to make her the Supreme now, Cordelia had to remove herself from the equation. So she performed a ritual suicide. Stabbed herself.
Such a powerful moment. The culmination of her journey from feeling inadequate to being this ultimate selfless leader.
Absolutely. A true act of faith and sacrifice for the greater good.
But it wasn't the end. How does she come back?
Well, because Mallory succeeded. She went back in time, ran Michael over with a car before he could rise to power, preventing the apocalypse altogether.
So the timeline was rewritten. The apocalypse never happened, meaning Cordelia never needed to sacrifice herself.
Exactly. In the new restored timeline, she's alive and well, still running the academy. Her resurrection is a consequence of victory, a symbol of hope restored.
And the audience feeling, Mary Girl Moody calls it pure triumph. I felt that. Seeing her alive and safe after that sacrifice just felt right.
It really cemented her legacy. The wise, brave Supreme who ultimately saved the world, even if indirectly through her sacrifice. A truly heroic arc.
Number 2. Another multi-resurrection icon, and possibly the most stylish, Myrtle Snow.
Oh, Myrtle. Balenciaga.
Yes, she's definitely had a complicated relationship with fire.
Twice burned at the stake. First, wrongly accused by Fiona in Coven.
Yep, crisped up for a crime she didn't commit. Classic witch politics.
Then again in the Apocalypse timeline, but this time it was Cordelia who ordered it.
It was a strategic move, apparently, involving needing her knowledge, but yes, burned again.
So how does she keep surviving being burned alive?
The first time in Coven, once Cordelia became the Supreme, one of her first acts was to resurrect Myrtle. She needed her counsel, her loyalty.
Right, using the power of Vitalum Vitalis. And the second time.
Also Cordelia, essentially. As part of the complex plan involving Mallory's time travel and Apocalypse, Myrtle was brought back again to help guide things. She's just too valuable to leave dead. Her impact really is huge, isn't it? She's not just comic relief, though she is hilarious.
Not at all. Mary Girl Moody highlights her strategic mind, her deep knowledge of magic, and that fierce, unwavering loyalty, especially to Cordelia. She's a vital part of the Coven's strength.
And fans just adore her, right? Every appearance is a moment.
Ecstatic is the word Mary Girl Moody uses, and it fits. Her unique style, her wit, that voice, she's unforgettable. Every comeback is celebrated. She's just fabulous.
Okay, we've reached number 1 on Mary Girl Moody's list.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a slightly different take on coming back. Lana Winters,
Lana Banana, yes, Asylum and then Roanoke. And it's crucial, as Moody points out, that her death wasn't literal.
Right. It was symbolic. The Lana who entered Briarcliff, terrified, vulnerable, she didn't really survive, did she?
In a sense, no. That version of her was broken down, tortured. What emerged was someone else entirely. The strong, determined, truth-seeking journalist. That transformation was a kind of death and rebirth.
That makes sense. Overcoming her past self, and then her return in Roanoke, decades later.
Exactly. She comes back even stronger, confronts her past, survives another nightmare, and even outlives her tormentors like her son, the second bloody face.
It wasn't magic. It wasn't supernatural intervention. It was just sheer will and resilience.
Precisely. Her story establishes her as a unique kind of horror survivor, based entirely on inner strength, not witch powers or ghostly loopholes.
And the audience reaction reflects that special status, doesn't it?
Massive admiration, Moody says. And she's absolutely right. Lana Winters is an icon. People respect her resilience, her intelligence, her refusal to be silenced. She's the ultimate final girl, in a way.
So wrapping up our look at Mary Girl Moody's list, it's clear resurrection is just baked into the DNA of American Horror Story, huh? In so many different forms.
Absolutely. Magic deals with devils, ghosts, time travel, even just like symbolic transformation like Lana's. The show uses it constantly.
And as the list shows, these returns aren't just twists. They give closure, like Moira. They cause chaos, like Madison. They explore what it means to be alive, like Kyle.
And the audience reactions really run the gamut, don't they? Joy, relief, frustration, shock. It shows how much these characters mean to people, how invested we get in their fates, even knowing death might not stick.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Why is resurrection such a powerful theme in horror? What is it about seeing these characters defy death, sometimes again and again, that keeps us watching?
Yeah, what do these returns say about survival, about legacy, maybe even about our own feelings about mortality? It might be interesting to rewatch some AHS, keeping Mary Girl Moody's list in mind, and see how those resurrections hit you now.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know, American Horror Story, it's a show that really doesn't pull its punches, right?
Yeah.
Especially when characters exit the story.
Oh, absolutely. Death is practically a recurring character itself in AHS.
It really is. And you shared this this really interesting piece with us by Mary Girl Moody. It's called AHS 10 Unexpected Deaths, part of her Focus on the List series.
Yeah, that one.
And it got me thinking about why certain deaths on that show just land so heavily, why they feel so, well, unexpected and painful.
Right. And what Mary Girl Moody's list really brings out is that these aren't just, random kills for shock value. Well, sometimes they are shocking, but they often feel like these big seismic events in the story.
Exactly. So our mission today for this deep dive is to really get into some of those deaths Mary Girl Moody flags. We want to look at them, figure out what made them so surprising, so full of sorrow for the audience, drawing on her perspective.
Yeah, digging into the characters, how they went out, and that audience reaction Mary Girl Moody talks about. The shock, the sadness, it's potent stuff.
Okay, so Mary Girl Moody gives us 10 examples in her Focus on the List. And, well, we can't hit every single one in massive detail, but we're definitely going to tackle several key ones she raises. Let's start with one that really set the tone early on. Violet Harmon from Murder House.
Violet, yeah. Number 10 on Mary Girl Moody's list. And it's a great starting point because, as she notes, Violet really felt like our guide through that whole first season,
Totally. She was the one experiencing the craziness of the murder house, sort of for us.
And her death. It wasn't some big dramatic confrontation. It was quiet.
Yeah.
An overdose. Alone. Mary Girl Moody points out how jarring that was compared to all the supernatural chaos happening around her. Makes you feel quite vulnerable as a viewer.
It really does. And the craziest part, which Mary Girl Moody really emphasizes, is that the show hit it. For multiple episodes, you and Violet herself didn't know she was dead.
Right. That reveal, when you finally realize she's a ghost. Oh, man. This just completely flips the script on everything you thought was happening. Mary Girl Moody nails it. It was a real gut punch.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
And thinking about why it hit so hard, like Mary Girl Moody prompts us to do, it wasn't just, oh no, the main character died. It was how they did it. It kind of subverted that whole final girl trope you expect in horror. She didn't die fighting a monster. She succumbed to her own despair quietly. As Mary Girl Moody suggests, this really told the audience early on, nobody is safe in AHS, no matter how important they seem.
It established that unpredictability right from season 1.
Right.
Mary Girl Moody mentions the audience shock and devastation, and I definitely felt that. You just weren't prepared for that level of bleakness, especially for a character you were so invested in.
Exactly. Okay, moving on, let's talk Asylum. Mary Girl Moody puts Grace Bertrand's first death at number 6. Now, this one, as she describes it, really speaks to the senseless violence of Briarcliff.
Oh, yeah. Grace. What was so rough about that one?
Well, following Mary Girl Moody's point, it's about everything Grace had already survived, right? She'd navigated the abuse, the experiments, the weird alien stuff, the accusations.
She was tough. You'd seen her resilience.
Totally. So then, for her to just be accidentally shot by a guard during all that chaos of the raid, it felt so random, so cruel. Mary Girl Moody uses the word senseless, and that's exactly right.
It really captures that feeling of injustice. Mary Girl Moody points out, Grace was Kit's hope, wasn't she? Like his chance for something normal, maybe, after Briarcliff.
Yeah, exactly.
And her death being so sudden and accidental, it just hammered home that feeling, as Mary Girl Moody implies, that survival in that place wasn't earned. It was just dumb luck or bad luck.
Right. It wasn't a big showdown. It wasn't a sacrifice. Mary Girl Moody's focus on the unnecessary aspect is spot on. It just happened. And that, I think, made Briarcliff feel even more suffocating, more inescapable for the audience. The horror felt more real somehow.
Definitely amplified the dread.
Okay,
let's jump ahead to Hotel. Queenie's death. That's number 7 on Mary Girl Moody's list.
Queenie. Yeah, this one really got people, as Mary Girl Moody notes, because Queenie, well, she was the human voodoo doll from Coven. You kind of assumed she was, magically protected or something. Hard to kill.
You really did. Her power seemed tailor-made to defend herself. So seeing her taken out relatively easily in the Hotel Cortez by Ramona Royale and James March. Wow.
It was a statement, wasn't it? As Mary Girl Moody points out, it basically said, look how dangerous this place is. Even someone like Queenie isn't safe here. It definitely made you worry about any other crossover characters showing up.
And there was that sense of injustice Mary Girl Moody touches on, too. Fans loved Queenie, and the way she died felt, I don't know, almost disrespectful to her power.
Yeah, like she was lured into a trap where her specific abilities didn't even matter against March and the hotel's darkness. Mary Girl Moody mentions the anger and sadness, and I think that's where it came from, feeling like she was cheated, denied a proper fight. It just felt wrong.
It felt like a betrayal, almost, of the character we knew from Coven, just like Mary Girl Moody suggests. Okay, sticking with Hotel, Tristan Duffy. Mary Girl Moody has him at number 4. His death hits differently, doesn't it?
It really does. What Mary Girl Moody highlights, and what made Tristan's death so shocking and, frankly, heartbreaking, was timing and context. He was actually starting to grow. Right?
Yeah, you were seeing layers.
He was developing this really sweet, genuine connection with Liz Taylor. It felt like maybe he was finding something real, something good, amidst all the darkness and hedonism of the Countess's world. Mary Girl Moody rightly flags that relationship as key to why his death hurt so much.
Absolutely. You were rooting for them. He was becoming more than just, the pretty model guy and then gone. The Countess with that glove, so fast, so brutal, right after he confesses his love for Liz.
Just cold. Utterly cold. Mary Girl Moody is spot on. It was this chilling reminder of the Countess's absolute ruthlessness, her inability to tolerate anyone finding happiness or love outside of her control. It just left you stunned.
And furious, like Mary Girl Moody says. It wasn't just about Tristan. It devastated Liz Taylor's storyline, too. Their bond was this little flicker of warmth in a very cold season. And to have it snuffed out like that, Mary Girl Moody captures that audience reaction perfectly, that heartbreak, that anger, that they were denied something better. You felt robbed for Liz.
Yeah, truly upsetting. Okay, let's shift gears. Freak show. Twisty the Clown. Mary Girl Moody puts his death, surprisingly high maybe, at number 3.
Yeah, Twisty. What was so wild about his death, as Mary Girl Moody points out, is how early it happened.
Exactly. That's the crucial thing Mary Girl Moody identifies. He was built up as the monster, the terrifying face on all the posters, the source of all the immediate dread in those first episodes. You assumed he was this season's big bad.
Totally. The main antagonist.
But then, relatively early on, they give you his backstory, this really tragic, sad story, and then Edward Mordrake just takes him, poof, gone. It completely pulled the rug out from under you. Mary Girl Moody's right to call it unexpected.
It was such a clever narrative trick, though. And Mary Girl Moody picking up on that is great, because by revealing his pain and then removing him, the show, forced you to look elsewhere for the horror.
Right, to Dandy Mott.
Exactly, to the human monster. Twisty became this weirdly sympathetic figure despite the terror he caused. You felt fear, but also pity. So his exit, as Mary Girl Moody notes, left you shocked, yeah, but also kind of sad, made you rethink the whole nature of monstrosity that season.
It really did. It forced a confrontation with a different kind of evil one rooted in entitlement and cruelty, not just trauma or supernatural forces. Mary Girl Moody helps us see that pivot. Okay, still in Freak Show. Number 2 on Mary Girl Moody's list, Ma Petite.
Oh, God. Ma Petite. Yeah. I think, as Mary Girl Moody suggests, this might be the saddest death in the entire AHS run for a lot of people.
It's definitely up there. She was just pure innocence, wasn't she? The heart of that little found family of freaks. So gentle, so kind.
Universally beloved, really, which made her death just horrific. Del Toledo strangling her for money to sell her body.
It was sickening. Mary Girl Moody captures that mercenary aspect, which just makes it even worse. It felt like the ultimate violation.
It wasn't just killing her. It was desecrating her memory, her place in their community. As Mary Girl Moody points out, it was this profound betrayal that just shattered the morale of the other freaks.
Absolutely. It broke something in them. Mary Girl Moody emphasizes how it damaged their sense of safety, their fragile unity, and really fueled their later actions. It was just this brutal reminder of how vulnerable they always were, how easily exploited.
Yeah.
The audience grief Mary Girl Moody mentions was so real, it felt like losing something genuinely good and pure in that dark world. Just a total loss of innocence.
A moment of absolute despair, as Mary Girl Moody implies. Okay, finally, the top spot on Mary Girl Moody's list of unexpected deaths. Misty Day in Coven.
Ah, Misty. Yeah. This one still stings for a lot of fans.
It really does. Because Misty, with her power resurrection and her whole vibe, that connection to nature, wanting to belong, she felt like she should have had a good ending you were pulling for.
Right. She seemed almost invincible in a way because she could literally cheat death. So the idea, as Mary Girl Moody highlights, that she would end up permanently trapped in her own personal hell during the 7 Wonders.
During the Descensum test, yeah. Forced to relive dissecting that poor frog over and over and over.
Endless trauma. It was just unbelievably cruel. Mary Girl Moody's absolutely right to put this at number 1 for unexpectedness and just sheer brutality of fate. It felt like such a betrayal of everything Misty represented.
The irony, like Mary Girl Moody suggests, is just savage. The one who could bring others back is the one who gets trapped in this eternal death loop. It underscored how high the stakes of the 7 Wonders were, how unforgiving that magic could be.
Definitely. And the audience reaction Mary Girl Moody describes that mix of pure heartbreak and outrage. Totally understandable. It felt so unfair, so undeserved for a character who was genuinely loved. A really bleak end.
So looking back at all these examples from Mary Girl Moody's focus on the list, it's clear these deaths weren't just random plot points.
Not at all. As Mary Girl Moody effectively shows, they hit hard because they often involve characters we cared about, they flipped our expectations on their head, or they happened at these really pivotal moments, leaving this lasting emotional mark. The sorrow and pain were real.
And like we've discussed, pulling from Mary Girl Moody's selections, these moments often served as massive turning points. Violet's death changed Murder House. Grace's death crushed Kit's hope in Asylum. Queenie's death established the rules of Hotel. Tristan's death fueled Liz's arc. Twisty's exit shifted the focus of Freak Show. Mara Petite's death broke the freak spirits. Misty's fate showed the cost of failure in Coven.
Exactly. Each one, as highlighted by Mary Girl Moody, sent ripples through the narrative. It makes you think, listening now, which of these deaths from Mary Girl Moody's list, or maybe another one she included that we didn't get to, really stuck with you the most? What was it about that specific loss?
It's a good question, because Mary Girl Moody's list really underlines how powerful unexpected loss can be in storytelling.
Yeah.
AHS uses it incredibly effectively. Sometimes it's when things don't go the way you expect, when hope is shattered, that a story really grabs you and doesn't let go. It creates that deep connection, even through pain.
Yeah, it's that vulnerability. And maybe, as Mary Girl Moody's choices imply, in a genre like horror, these sudden, painful goodbyes are the ultimate reminder that even the characters we love most, the ones who seem strong or protected, are fragile. In the worlds American Horror Story creates, safety is always an illusion.
A chilling thought to end on.
Okay, so you ever watch a show, maybe something like American Horror Story, and just think, how is that person still alive?
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time with AHS, doesn't it? The body counts are just staggering.
Right. Well, today we're actually diving deep into that exact feeling. There's this really great list put together by Mary Girl Moody.
Ah, yes, I saw that one. She's looked at American Horror Story characters who, well, statistically really shouldn't have survived their seasons.
Exactly. And she's ranked them based on what she calls sheer survival audacity. It's kind of a scale of how unbelievable their survival actually was.
Yeah, it's top 10 list. She's got ratings, too. It's not just random. She's really thought about, the how and why they defy the odds. Could be luck, magic, maybe just pure stubbornness.
So our mission today is to dig into that list, figure out how these characters pulled it off, what made their survival so audacious, according to Mary Girl Moody.
Sounds great. We're going to count them down, right? Starting from number 10 on her list.
Yep, let's do it. Kicking things off, ranked number 10 by Mary Girl Moody with a survival audacity rating of 8 out of 10. It's Mallory from Apocalypse.
Ah, Mallory. Okay, so picture this. Nuclear apocalypse happens. End of the world stuff.
Total chaos.
And Mallory. She survives because she's in this fancy underground bunker. Pretty cushy way to ride out the end times, relatively speaking.
Seems almost too easy for AHS. But Mary Girl Moody points out that's just the beginning. Surviving the bombs is one thing.
But then she just casually unlocks time travel.
Like you do. And it's not just a little jump back. She goes back and basically undoes the entire season, erases the apocalypse.
That's the real audacity Mary Girl Moody is highlighting, isn't it? It's not just living through it. It's hitting the cosmic undo button.
It really is. It's like, nope, didn't care for that reality. Let's try again. Which, you got to admire the confidence.
Definitely a gold move,
yeah.
Survival-wise. So who's next on the list?
It's Lana Winters from Asylum.
Ah, Lana Banana.
Ah.
Okay, see, Mary Girl Moody calls her the final girl of final girls. And that rating, that 1 out of 10, it makes sense when you think about it.
It does. I mean, think about what Lana endured.
Yeah.
She was wrongly committed to Briarcliff.
Which was a nightmare hellscape.
Totally. Then, tortured by Bloody Face, actually has his child. It's just relentless trauma.
Any one of those things should have broken someone. But Lana, she has this core of, well, ice, as Mary Girl Moody puts it.
She really does, making that impossible choice about her son and then years later confronting him and ultimately shooting him. It's brutal survival.
It's the epitome of the final girl trope, but taken to such an extreme. She doesn't just survive the killer. She survives the psychological fallout, the legacy, everything.
So the 1 out of 10 really emphasizes just how much she overcame. It was against all odds.
Truly improbable. Okay, who's number 8?
All right, number 8. This one, Mary Girl Moody gives the survival audacity rating of 10 out of 10. So, again, maximum points for how are you possibly still here? Xavier Plympton from 1984.
Oh, God, Xavier. Right. The oven.
Yeah. Mary Girl Moody's description is just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Cooked like a rotisserie chicken.
It's horrifying. He's literally burned alive in an industrial oven. An absolutely agonizing way to go.
But does he act like it? Nope. Mary Girl Moody notes he keeps moving like it was a minor inconvenience.
That's the truly audacious part, right? The disconnect. He's suffering horrific, fatal burns, but he's more worried about his acting career or his face.
It's almost comical in how bizarre it is. Like, priorities, dude. You were just incinerated.
And then, even after he does die from it, he just comes back as a ghost.
Exactly. It's like the show itself wouldn't let him die properly. Mary Girl Moody mentions plot armor, and, I mean, yeah. It feels like that here.
It really does. The narrative just bends over backwards to keep him around, even spectrally. His survival and that weird nonchalance, it definitely earns that 10-10 for audacity.
Totally. Okay, moving on. Number 7 on Mary Girl Moody's list. Cordelia Goode from Coven. She gets a survival rating of 3 out of 10.
Cordelia. Right.
She definitely goes through the ringer, though. Mary Girl Moody points out all the constant threats.
Oh, for sure. She's blinded by acid.
Survives multiple assassination attempts.
Has to deal with Fiona, her mother, which is a whole challenge in itself. Fiona was intense.
Understatement. But Cordelia, she doesn't just endure it. She pushes through, she learns, she grows stronger.
And ultimately becomes the Supreme. She leads the Coven, protects it. Mary Girl Moody calls her resilient, stubborn, and supreme AF.
Which fits perfectly. So her survival, while definitely hard-won, maybe feels a bit more earned, or at least more tied to her inherent power and destiny, compared to, say, Xavier just shrugging off being roasted.
Right. Mary Girl Moody's rating reflects that, I think. There's a struggle, but also an inherent capacity to struggle and win because of who she is. Makes sense.
Okay, number 6. Back up the improbability scale here. Mary Girl Moody gives this guy a 9 out of 10 for survival audacity. Mr. Jingles from 1984.
Oh, Mr. Jingles. Yeah, you should be dead. is basically his tagline, as Mary Girl Moody puts it.
Seriously, the man just keeps dying and not dying. He's shot full of arrows.
Resurrected by Satan.
Manipulated into more killing.
Even stabs himself fatally at one point. It's just, death is a revolving door for him.
And Mary Girl Moody mentions he literally goes to hell and comes back. That's quite the commute.
It's absolutely insane. And what's really interesting is that despite all the horror, all the killing he did, he finds a kind of redemption arc.
Yeah. Which seems almost as improbable as surviving getting shot with arrows and resurrected by the devil.
Right, so that 9 out of 10 rating feels spot on. The physical survival is nuts, but the journey to redemption adds this whole other layer of beating the odds.
Definitely. Okay, cracking the top 5. Number 5 is Coco St. Pierre Vanderbilt from Apocalypse. Mary Girl Moody gives her a 5 out of 10. Middle of the road, maybe?
Coco. Okay, yeah, on the surface, you wouldn't pick her as a survivor top, would you? As Mary Girl Moody notes, she seems kind of fluffy.
A little bit ditzy, maybe?
Yeah.
Superficial. But that's the interesting part, right? Mary Girl Moody points out she actually has this crucial hidden role.
She's sort of unknowingly protecting Mallory, the future Supreme. Her ability to detect gluten, bizarrely enough, becomes important.
And her actual survival plan for the apocalypse. Buying her way into the bunker.
With stew privileges.
I mean, it's so perfectly Coco. It's absurd, but Mary Girl Moody frames it as this unexpected success. Her wealth and status were her survival tools.
Exactly. And it turns out her survival is actually key for the future of witchcraft. So it wasn't just luck. There was a purpose, even if she didn't know it. Her 5/10 rating kind of reflects that unlikely, but with a hidden logic.
Makes sense. Okay, number 4, survival audacity rating, 6 out of 10. Iris from Hotel.
Mary Girl Moody calls her the manager who lived.
I love that. And it really fits because what Mary Girl Moody highlights is Iris's complete lack of, well, anything supernatural.
Yeah, she's just human. She's living and working day to day in the Hotel Cortez, which is basically a hotspot for ghosts, vampires, serial killers.
It's constant danger. She's got James March, the Countess, Sally, all these threats swirling around her. No powers, no special defenses.
But she hangs in there. More than hangs in there, actually. She becomes this sort of anchor for the hotel, co-owns it with Liz Taylor eventually.
It's pure grit. Mary Girl Moody really seems to admire her resilience. It's a different kind of survival.
It is. Mary Girl Moody compares her to Constance Langdon managing the murder house, which is a great point. Just sheer human willpower in these terrifying supernatural settings. That 6/10 feels right impressive audacity for a normal person.
Okay, into the top 3 now. At number 3, Mary Girl Moody gives a 4 out of 10 rating to Misty Day from Coven.
Misty, the swamp witch who refused to stay dead. Another great description from Mary Girl Moody.
Perfect for her. Because Misty's survival is just cyclical, almost mystical. She gets burned at the stake by a mob.
And just comes back, thanks to her power of resurgence.
Then she gets trapped in her own personal hell during the 7 Wonders.
And eventually gets pulled out of it in Apocalypse. Death just doesn't seem to stick to her. Mary Girl Moody really emphasizes that recurring theme.
Yeah, it feels less like dodging death and more like death is just a temporary state for her, connected to her magic, the swamp.
Yeah.
It's very elemental.
In that final image Mary Girl Moody mentions, her sort of disappearing into the mist, still maybe twirling somewhere, it suggests she's just perpetually around.
Right. So her 410 rating seems to capture that it's audacious, sure, but also kind of expected for her. It's what Misty does.
Exactly. It's her nature.
Right.
Okay, final 2. This is intense.
It is. Number 2, brace yourself. Survival audacity rating. A mind-blowing 1 out of 10. Statistically, almost 0 chance. It's Madison Montgomery.
Oh, Madison, of course. And Mary Girl Moody's tagline, perfect. Surprise, bitch.
Isn't it just, it basically is her approach to death. Mary Girl Moody lists the deaths. Fiona slits her throat.
Kyle strangles her.
Michael Langdon literally explodes her in Apocalypse.
And yet,
she just keeps coming back, always with that attitude, that one-liner ready.
It becomes almost a running gag, her dying and returning. But as Mary Girl Moody says, that OG surprise bitch energy never dies.
It's like her sheer personality is resurrection magic. That and, you know, actual resurrection magic.
It really highlights this weird AHS theme. Sometimes survival isn't about avoiding death, it's about refusing to stay dead. Her 1 in 10 audacity rating is absolutely earned. It's maybe the most blatant example of character the show just won't let go of.
Totally agree. All right, we've reached the top. Number 1 on Mary Girl Moody's list of characters with no business surviving. 10 out of 10.
The absolute least likely survivor.
Brooke Thompson from 1984. Mary Girl Moody calls her too lucky to fail.
Brooke. Wow. Okay, thinking back on 1984, Mary Girl Moody is spot on.
Yeah.
Her entire experience at Camp Redwood is just nonstop terror.
Right. Framed for murder, hunted by the Night Stalker, hunted by Mr. Jingles, Ramirez again, Margaret. She's shot, stabbed, almost executed.
It's relentless. Every
Yeah.
time you think she's done for, she somehow scrapes through, usually by the skin of her teeth.
I mean, contrast Mary Girl Moody points out is key. Everyone else at Redwood seems to die horribly, multiple times even.
And Brooke ends up living this quiet, normal suburban life afterwards. It almost feels like a different reality.
It's the sheer unlikelihood of that peaceful ending after that specific gauntlet of horrors. That's what makes Mary Girl Moody rank her #1, I think.
Yeah, her survival feels less like skill or power and more like cosmic luck, or maybe narrative necessity to have someone get away relatively clean. That 10-10 feels justified as the peak of how did that happen?
So looking back at this whole list from Mary Girl Moody, it's quite a range, isn't it, the ways these characters manage to stick around?
It really is. You've got magic, like with Mallory or Misty. You've got maybe narrative convenience, let's say, for Xavier or Madison.
Yeah. Then sheer resilience for people like Iris or Lana. Even wealth playing a role, like with Coco.
Yeah, Mary Girl Moody's ranking does a great job showing there's no single formula for survival in American Horror Story. It's messy, it's often illogical, but always fascinating.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like when we say a character survived in a show like this, what does that even mean? Is it just physically making it to the end credits?
Or is there more to it, like surviving trauma, surviving your own past actions? Mary Girl Moody's list kind of pushes that question. What enables survival against impossible odds?
Exactly. So a final thought for everyone listening. Reflect on Mary Girl Moody's list. Who did she miss? Which AHS character do you think had absolutely no logical reason to survive their season?
There are definitely other contenders you could argue for.
Right. It's a fun, if slightly morbid, thing to think about.